I'm gonna just go ahead and say this now. Micah should be. Micah, he shouldn't be yet. I wouldn't put Micah yet. I feel like Micah. I feel like we still got a lot to prove. From Micah still has a lot to prove. Like he's done a great job his first couple years in the league. Don't get me wrong. He's a fantastic player, but I feel like Micah still has a surface that he don't even know that he can scratch as far as what he's doing. So I would say Micah. I would say Micah's last. CeeDee. I put probably Dak second. I'll put Zach, and then Micah got weight, man. You still young dog, man.
Okay, reaction.
It was wild answer. And if you watch the whole thing, and shout out to All Gas No Breaks, Keyshawn's pod, he goes, it's a he's like, we got to get out of here, but I got this quick question. He gives a 5-minute answer where he speaks glowingly about CeeDee Lamb. It talks about how Zach Martin might be the most important guy on the team, then seems to almost feel bad that it's sounding like he is giving Zach Martin credit for Dak's success.
Because he hadn't, it was a while
right,
before he got
and
to
then,
Dak.
so then when he gets to Dak, he then, explains, about how much he likes Dak. He chimes in about how he thinks Dak's top 5, top 6. He says more nice things about Dak. And then he's like, and to make it clear, what I was saying about Micah before, that is still true. Micah's got more to prove. Maybe this was like a veteran trying to motivate the young player. I'm not sure. But it was, when I originally saw, I hadn't heard the pod yet. When I originally saw this quote in our rundown that you put together and then complain about on the air, sure. I thought it was, I was like, are we kind of being a little unfair, like playing fast and loose with it?
Right.
And then I heard it and I'm like, no. It's actually, it's the rare quote that listens worse than it reads. And so I was shocked by it.
Yeah, look, props to Keyshawn Johnson for getting, what you want to do as an interviewer is get the guy to be completely natural. Yeah. And I think Malik may have forgotten that this was going public. Really, he was just completely honest about this thing with no cares in the world whatsoever as to how Micah or anybody else was going to think about it. And look, in honesty, his order isn't bad. I'm surprised Dak. I think Dak, I would think, would have been first. That's the quarterback. Because initially, Nick, as I'm listening to it, I was like, man, he's actually talked about everybody in detail except Dak. So at first it was like, he really isn't feeling Dak, but then he got to Dak later and did speak glowingly about how smart he is and this and that. But it was surprising.
For the defensive player to Micah, not take up for the defensive player is what's weird.
Well, I guess, though, in his defense, Micah has played 3 years. He's the youngest, so I think that's where this is stemming from. But it'll be interesting how Micah takes it.
All right, so let me put a scenario out for you, bro. If I said after a show, you know what, I need to get better at reading the teases because I'm just loosey-goosey and not paying attention a lot. Yeah. And then you did an interview. You're like, is there anything Wildes needs to get better at? Like, yeah, he's a little loosey-goosey with the teases. He's not really paying attention. I don't think I would necessarily get mad. And the reason why I'm using that example is because when Micah had his podcast with CeeDee, he's like, I need to get better. I can take it to another level. I'm going to get more locked in. So is Malik just...
The challenge is because of the money. You're talking about millions of dollars now. It's not just...
I felt like there's parallels to what Micah said about himself and what Malik said.
Yeah, but Micah didn't say that in the context of getting paid.
Right.
Micah wants to get paid right in general. Yeah, but this was a direct question about who to pay. And by the way, I just want to be very clear. That exact scenario you laid out would infuriate me. I think it would a lot of people. I think that if I gave an interview and they were like, what do you need to work on as a broadcaster? And I said it. Yeah. And then you gave an interview 2 weeks later and they asked you, what do you think Nick needs to work on as a broadcaster? And if you said anything other than greatest guy I've ever worked with, I'd be furious. And so I think there's a lot of people that can say something about themselves in a moment of honesty or, perceived vulnerability. They don't want to hear someone else, one of their teammates, certainly, and this isn't the scenario here, but certainly someone that Micah's like, hey, Malik, you've been in the league a long time. When are you getting to the next level? Like, what are we talking? That's the other thing. When you're the best player,
right?
I don't want to hear. You don't want to hear that.
Well, I think that's the one thing we don't know is what is his relationship with Micah.
Yeah.
If he's Micah's big brother and he can really talk to him like that, and maybe they've even talked about the contract.
That's why
situation.
I let you talk bad about me. But not.
If that's the situation, it's fine. But if it's just like, hey, we're teammates, we're cool, whatever. But I don't really get with him off the field.
Yeah.
Now Micah might be like,
it's a weird thing. The Cowboys have a lot of weird stuff.
Yeah, they do.
Coming up next is Bronny must-see TV. That's what Magic Johnson said. Stay tuned.
Magic was right.
Brew?
Hold on real quick before we even get to the question, because can we address what he said at the very end there? Because you said under the sound, this thing's so weird.
Yeah.
And him saying history should be made in the Lakers uniform, Rob Pelinka saying that is another one of the reasons, if I may, that whatever pushing LeBron did behind the scenes about this pick, I think much like the Russell Westbrook trade, didn't need to be pushed that hard because the Lakers like stuff like this.
I buy that.
You know what I mean? They wanted stars with Russ. They like the idea of the first father-son combo being a Lakers moment. That's part of the iconography in 20 years of the franchise. Yeah. So I think that is genuine.
I do too. The Celtics hung another banner, but sure, this is another good moment.
Well, look, they're obviously not the Cowboys because the Lakers win. Mm-hmm. All right, they win championships, but they are the glamour franchise of the NBA, and most of the greatest players ever have played for the Lakers, and they do see these big moments should be the Lakers moments. But as LeBron breaking Kareem's record as a Laker. I know they want to win, but it's a business too. And if you're not going to win.
Bro, you hate this in every other scenario.
Because the Cowboys don't win. I don't mind it. Look, they're trying to win. And they got good players, obviously. But you also know it's a business too. And there's nothing, you can do both.
I'm glad you mentioned the Celtics, by the way, because it is not like it is 100-1 in championships. Mm-hmm. It is now 18-17. And in my opinion, the Lakers are clearly the prestige franchise because they haven't had any long droughts the way the Celtics did, and they didn't win. And so, but that's a separate thing. But they are two very different businesses, for good or for bad. Yeah. I think the Celtics are a much more smartly run organization. I also think that the Lakers err on the side of give Kobe the money. It'll create good. You know what I mean? We want to be that place. Yeah. The Celtics were like, "Hey, Isaiah Thomas, we're knifing you in the back."
Okay, well,
and by the way,
look, they kept Bird and McHale and those guys.
Well, yeah,
a little too long.
For the other weird thing, if we're being honest here, is while Magic is had his I'm not going to be here, but is still now back with the organization. Anybody else thought it was weird when it was Jason Tatum's like, I met Larry Bird.
Yeah, I thought it was that.
Like, so they're just different.
Paul Pierce there every other weekend. But.
Yeah, Paul exactly. But go ahead. We can get to the actual topic.
The question was, do you expect this move to extend LeBron's career?
I mean, that's hard. Look, I don't think LeBron is going anywhere. All right. I just like yesterday I said Bronny's getting drafted by the Lakers. I'd be shocked if LeBron didn't re-sign with the Lakers. But he's going to sign a 3-year, $160 million deal most likely. And so that's signing up for 3 years. I don't think, unless he came out and just all of a sudden wasn't good or wasn't great even. Mm-hmm. If he was just a decent player all of a sudden, which I don't think any of us expect, I think he's playing at least 2 years, if not 3. And as Nick said, maybe, I don't know if I totally agree with this. I don't know if it's off the table that maybe Bronny could be a rotation player next year. I mean, we'll see. But I think that's something they're probably shooting for. But if it is in the 3rd year, that's LeBron's last year of the deal. And also, and I don't want to put pressure on Bryce, his second son. But Bryce could enter, if Bryce is going to be a senior in high school, he plays, he's 6'5", 6'6". And if he was a one and done, then he actually would be eligible to enter the NBA. I mean, I'm just saying, in LeBron's third year. So you play with one son, why not play with both?
So I don't the Bryce stuff to me is I've heard other people speculate that, and he has the size that Bronny doesn't. But it doesn't appear from the people that follow high school basketball. Like, Bronny was a legitimate
as a 3-star.
Right. It was a legitimately highly touted recruit who, before the cardiac arrest, we were talking about the mock draft folks, had him in the middle of the first round before he went to USC. I don't think that has been, Bryce's profile up to this point, but things can change in either direction. And my answer to this is it certainly isn't going to hurt the length of his career. And what Bruce said is kind of where I was going, which is I think that that the plan is to treat these next 2 years like 2 more years of college as far as development goes.
Sure.
You know what I mean? That where he is going to play a lot of G League stuff, but instead of being at USC with a new coach or transferring or whatever, be with a professional franchise, going through all of that. What are you smiling about?
No, I mean, still has.
What?
Go ahead. His coach probably would have more experience at USC.
Oh yeah. Well, that part's true. That part is true. But you understand what I mean. Like, be with an NBA organization. But so I do think that if in 2 years LeBron was going to retire, but at that same time, it's like, Bronny has now gone on the Austin Reeves trajectory, not to be that good, but where it was like, is this guy even going to make the team? Oh, wait, he's something. Oh, wait, he's going to be in our rotation. That I think, LeBron might be like, I'll stick around 1 more year for that. Yeah. To where instead of it just being ceremonial or we got a moment together where we're playing 20 minutes a night together. But again, that is long-term projection of best-case scenario for both guys, that LeBron could do it and that Bronny would project that way, which is far better than most first picks of the second round, much less 50.
It was like a Louis Scola, Patty Mills, our number 55
picks.
Best case scenario. That's just at 55.
Yeah.
Do you have another thing, Bruce?
No, I was just going to say the other thing, obviously, is LeBron's health.
The Lakers, so I forgot the question. I just thought that was so clever.
Yeah, that was. You thought, I'm just curious, you thought that people didn't understand 13th meant there were 12 teams ahead of them? So you thought it was going to really smack when you listed those teams?
I'm just saying that we are not talking about Memphis's chance to win the title.
Why?
I like Memphis.
You are the executive producer of the show.
Not.
You might as well be. Put it in.
I'm talking haircuts.
No, I am, hold on. I am, even though your friends and family are here, I am not going to abide by you complaining about what your TV show talks about. Nobody has more influence on what we're talking. Thank you, Brew.
You're self-proclaimed. I don't have any real juice.
And so, listen.
Okay, fine.
No, it's just a ridiculous complaint.
What do we think about Memphis?
So listen, do they need to add another piece? The answer is, of course, yes. I don't think they're going to be able to. But I do think those title odds are instructive in this regard because there is a group of teams that has a legitimate chance according to the odds.
Yeah.
Boston, Denver, the Knicks, OKC, Minnesota, Dallas, Milwaukee, and Philly. Those are your top teams, and those are all the teams that are 10-1 or better.
Yep. Oh, then there's a huge drop. Yep.
And then there is a huge drop. And that next group of teams, aside from Memphis, which is kind of the weirdest one, because it's like, what are we going to get from Ja? All have something else in common. The Heat, the Clippers, the Suns, the Warriors, and the Lakers. What do they all have in common? Yeah, maybe, but they're old, but they've got a star. And so what those teams at the top, the very top, Boston, Denver, have super-duper star or super-duper team. We've seen them do it.
Core intact, yeah.
Right. That next group of the teams, young guys, we like the whole roster as a whole. And then Dallas, Milwaukee, Philly, it's like we love one of the players a ton and maybe. Those are what NBA history says, the winner's going to be one of those 8 teams. Yeah. And in your prime superstar, but the Lakers are in the same boat that I think the Clippers and the Suns and the Warriors are, which is if they pulled off a wow move, then you would feel they're in the discussion, but their window is probably closed. I think that's fair.
I don't see a wow move.
Me neither.
But I look at the Lakers, and I don't have them winning the West at this point, but the Lakers have they're one of 2 or 3 teams in the NBA with 2 top 15 players, right? LeBron and AD.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think their supporting cast is that bad. Austin Reeves is good. Rui Hachimura, I mean, their supporting cast, they're role players.
Pretty
you
good.
can go on and on. Right, they're pretty good. I would love, if I'm the Lakers, to add Klay Thompson. I think obviously they could use his shooting and his experience. He's a winner. There is a connection there with his dad having played for the Lakers.
More
like
Lakers nepotism.
Klay,
Unbelievable.
no, right, there it would
Yeah.
be. But Klay, I think, would be great for them, and maybe he gives them a little discount to go there, even though he wouldn't do it for the Warriors, but it's a new place, right? So I think I'd love to add Klay. And then this is the thing, and this is why, let's see what J.J. Redick's made of. A lot of this is going to be coaching. I think, like, he's got to figure out, okay, what is my best way to maximize these players? That's what a coach is supposed to do. He mentioned in his press conference, AD being the hub of the offense, which he hasn't been. All right? I think a lot of that means AD is going to be getting the ball, and they want him to also, in addition to being a threat to score, passing, drawing double teams, and kicking out for threes because they didn't take enough threes this year. No. They were like 28th in the league in three-point attempts, and they were 8th in the league in three-point percentage. He mentioned LeBron shooting 41% from three. He wants LeBron to shoot more threes. I don't think he'll get an argument from LeBron on that.
Were they so high? Was the discrepancy because they were just taking good threes, where Celtics are just taking lots of threes?
Yeah, so I think the percentage would probably go down somewhat if the volume went up, but it would meet somewhere
but they still were taking 31 a game, so it's not like they weren't shooting a lot of threes.
Yeah.
Just relative to the rest of the league, they weren't shooting a lot. But I think he'll have them shooting more threes, and a lot of this is on coaching because I do think the roster is pretty good.
Watch this. What are we doing next, Wildes? What's the next topic? What is it? Read the tease.
I'm going to call
Hubs,
audible.
roll it. Read the tease.
Audible.
Wait, why aren't we talking about the Titans? Give me a break.
The Titans
why aren't we
don't
talking
have
about the
better
Titans?
odds.
They're both from Tennessee. Okay, that's fine. That's why I picked Memphis. But that is fine. Pick a team with the same odds as the Cowboys.
Cowboys
that's
have pretty good odds.
Why aren't we talking right now, this moment, about the Bengals? Why aren't we?
We should.
Okay,
let's talk about Joe Burrow.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.